If you're living on any corner of planet Earth, you no doubt know about the economic turmoil and uncertainties that are taking place all over the world. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 3 ways in which you can recession-proof or even depression-proof your small business. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Pamela Metani. I'm a business lawyer and the founder here at Graphene Business Law, where our slogan is all business, all the time. At Graphene Business Law, we service business owners and entrepreneurs all across the province of Ontario, and we do so virtually. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and make sure you click the subscribe button, because we sure do put a lot of effort into these videos and try our best to put out educational content that can go a long way for you. Now, as I mentioned, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 3 ways to recession or depression-proof your business. Markers globally are all going in the wrong direction financially, whether it's interest rates that are rising, whether it is bankruptcies that are rising, whether it is the housing crisis, the cost of living crisis that's taking place globally. There's literally no shortage of bad economic news when you turn on your TV, smartphone, radio, laptop, or whatever device you're on. That being said, it's important to realize that as an intelligent business owner, what's the best thing you can do in such time? You buckle down, get to know yourself, get to know your business, calculate your numbers, see how far you can go in tough times, and what you can do to avoid getting into tough times to begin with, despite what that shop to your right and to your left is going through. So without further ado, 3 things I want to talk about and suggest as a business owner myself that can help you during tough times, can help your business. The first thing is offering goods of different price points. There are some businesses out there, or I would say almost all businesses out there, have as part of their vision a certain clientele that they're going after, a certain demographic that they're going after. What do I mean? I mean, from the literal big chains of, we have the Dollarama that is going to be helping persons that perhaps are more price conscious, all the way to, Louis Vuitton and Hermes. The price conscious are not exactly their target market, right? There's a whole spectrum of financial demographic that businesses go after as it pertains to their client, okay? If you are offering a higher end good, make sure you spread yourself in a way that now you can bring customers to the door for a lower price point good. And keep in mind, that's not only going to be new customers, but during times of tough economic times, even your consistent business customers that may have been able to, up until now, afford the expensive goods, most of them are going to need lower priced goods as well. And when I say goods, it means goods and services. There's no difference there. So make sure you span that economic spread, if you will. And keep in mind, I said if you're selling at the high, try to sell a few things priced low as well. But the same actually goes the other way around. If you are selling low priced goods, make sure that you expose yourself a little bit to a certain other type of demographic, because once those low price guys are going to stop being able to afford your goods altogether, well, then what happens if it's only the rich that can now spend money? You're going to want to bring them through the door, and it's unlikely that a rich person would ever go in the door of something that is super low price, not attractive, not sparkly, so to speak, for their purposes, whether it's, their reputation, their image, whatever the case may be. Make sure, no matter where in the spectrum you are, that you have products or services that you can tweak and offer variants of at the 3 price points, if you will, the low, medium, and high end, okay? The second suggestion is make sure you diversify your product and service offerings, not in the financial sense like we mentioned in step 1, because that's an apples to apples comparison, like making sure you have a less expensive version of the same product, but make sure you diversify across products, so horizontally as well. And what does that mean? This is totally an example, totally hypothetical. If you specialize, for example, in detailing luxury cars, you're doing the Rolls and the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, whatever the case may be, and that's your business, and that's a damn good business. Why shouldn't it be your business? If that's what you specialize in times of tough economic times, well, you know, gasoline is going to start adding up, interest rates on those loans that people are taking the cars out with are going to start going up, insurance rates could even go up, everything goes up, the cost of maintaining those cars goes up. So more people might be turning to, and I'm not a car guru, like I said, this is an example, but more people might be turning to motorcycles if they're less expensive to upkeep. More people might be turning to bicycles because guess what? A bike spends no gas at all. So if that, you know, turn starts happening in your neighborhood or within your line of business, do you have the skills required to, you know, quickly pivot like that? We saw this, you know, truly ring the bell of success for so many businesses during peak COVID times. Restaurants that were dining only converted to takeout, right? It's that same world of food, but obviously with takeout, you're going to need to worry about the temperature and the preservation and this and that. Whereas with dine-in, you know, you're going to worry about plating. Like, it's the same kind of field we're in. It's still food and food, but there's a pivot there. Just as with the cars and motorcycles and bicycle example I gave, it's the same overall picture of transportation. But how well can you pivot within those spectrums? How many lines of business can you open yourself up to? Okay, and that's going to be key to surviving any tough time. And there's, you know, as a business owner and as a, you know, lawyer and human being that likes to think about these things, there's so much that can be said here about an attitude to life generally and your personal skills and making yourself useful in as many ways as possible. But we'll keep it, you know, business on this Graphene Business Law channel. And when it comes to your offerings, make sure you diversify. And then you could layer this with the first step of diversifying prices, right? So maybe there's a way to, you know, if you end up going the bike example instead of cars, maybe there's a way to clean the bike where it's, you know, all the bells and whistles, and maybe there's a standard clean for the bike, right? So different price ranges after we have the different products and services that we're offering. The third tip that I'm going to put out there is working hard on that customer loyalty. At the end of the day, if things get bad enough, listen, everybody in this world has a budget, right? One thing that I think is a really negative connotation sometimes when we talk about, you know, persons of lower financial means, if you will, it's like, oh, their budget, there's all this talk of, you know, a word that comes across as being financially restrictive. But guess what? Bill Gates has a budget. If his net worth, or I'll say, you know, if he has $100 million cash, 101 is going to be his cap. That's very simple math. Yes, as a business owner and a lawyer, I know about borrowing and all those other things he can do to stretch his cap a little bit. But the point being, everybody has a budget. Everybody has things that they can and cannot afford, no matter if they've got $10 in the bank, you know, 10,000, 10 million, or 10 billion. Everybody has a budget. So hypothetically, that budget could dissolve for everybody as well. And in those tough economic times, when people are struggling, they don't want to spend their money, they have so little money to spend, but then necessary things come up. Make sure you're going to be top of mind for those necessary expenses that they have, because a lot of people are going to be offering the service that you do. I don't think there's any kind of industry in the world where it's just, you know, one person and nobody else, no other company. It's impossible that anybody could ever compete. No, everybody has a competitor. So make sure you really strengthen your customer service and your customer relationships. That's going to be the most important relationship you have during tough economic times. I don't doubt for a second, you know, one thing, as so many others out there, that, you know, one type of food I like, for example, is sushi. I don't doubt for a second that some damn good sushi shops closed down during COVID. But you know the ones that made it, the ones that, you know, put the extra stickers and the extra help us and support local and gave you an extra smile while handing you your food and told you their story and this and that, gave you a little something extra, maybe, you know, a little mochi, whatever the case. Those businesses survived. So many businesses survived sheerly out of customer support during COVID. And that, you know, you can survive based off support depending on those relationships you build. And, you know, in a country as diverse as Canada, it goes without saying that community can mean anything. If you are of a certain background, you know, you can always work with that community. You don't need to worry about, you know, oh, I'm not so good at the social media, this and that. Promote in whatever language you can speak, you know, do your best with whatever you can do, and go after whatever crowd you can and make it yours, okay? and strengthen those ties. And of course, the more crowds the better, but the point of what I just said is don't be insecure if you can't write in today's social media crazed world. If you can't write as good an Instagram caption as somebody else. I know what it's like. My parents are immigrants. I know those societal struggles and what that's all about, but there's always somebody you can go after, no matter how you go after them. Okay, so we'll end the video there with those 3 tips and or suggestions on how to help recession proof, difficulty proof, even depression proof your small business. Thank you for watching. It goes without saying that if you're looking to launch, grow, or even conclude your business for whatever reason in the province of Ontario in Canada, you can reach out to us at graphenebusinesslaw.ca is our website, and info@graphenebusinesslaw.ca is our email. And these videos are kind of universally applicable. They don't apply just to persons in Ontario or individuals in Ontario, I guarantee you that. But if you're looking for legal services in Ontario, that's a jurisdiction where Graphene Business Law is licensed to practice. So thanks again for watching.